The action takes place in the Royal Beast Sect. The moment has come when the first disciple of the Beast Sect needs to create his golden core. However, the teacher warns Genya that he may accidentally create a heavenly core of the beast, since the student is very talented and the master himself will envy him. Having created the core of the beast, the hero will not only be able to communicate with the imperial beasts, but also merge with them, gaining new strength. The master of the Beast Sect in Wanting says that he failed to create a heavenly core of the beast and he puts all his hopes on his disciple. A heavy burden has fallen on Genya's shoulders to create the core of the beast and glorify the sect, so the main character promises to do everything possible not to disappoint the teacher. The disciple takes Gu Yuan's spiritual core along with the manuscript Yuang Juxin and goes to his room. At this time, one of the two brothers watching the ceremony mockingly notices the envy in the eyes of the second, to which he replies that he would not envy an orphan. The master, hearing these words, got angry and scolded the young men for being jealous of their comrade instead of devoting their time to improving cultivation. Suddenly, the teacher abruptly turns cold and calls the young men to follow him to complete the task. Further, it is narrated that Lin Tian is the world in which the sects of immortality are located. The four strongest of them are the Mai Yao sect, the Tianling Zai sect, the Bai Hua Men sect, and finally, the Beast sect. In the distant past, the immortal master of all beasts opened a portal that animals and people could use. He came to the Beast sect and conquered all the others, making the Beast sect one of the strongest. A few generations later, the secret of the heavenly core beast technique was revealed and the status of the Beast sect grew. And now, centuries later, the main character is sitting in his room in the dead of night and trying to create a heavenly core of the beast, because the usual will not satisfy him. Xiao Ren is very diligently reading the words from the manuscript, when suddenly a huge ray of energy hits the ground and a large glowing tiger spirit appears in the sky. The master, seeing this, gets so excited that he breaks the mug in his hands. The teacher is very glad that his student did not let him down, while the main character thinks with delight that he will finally be able to please the master. Approaching the master's room, the main character notices that some strange noise is coming from there. Xiao is surprised that the teacher didn't sleep so late and waited for him all night. Approaching the door, the main character tries to open it, when suddenly someone knocks it out from the inside and the door shatters into splinters. The main character realizes that his master was attacked by people who own spiritual snakes that devour souls. These green creatures crawl into the hero, but he dodges the blow. Xiao Ren loudly asks the criminals about who they are and how they know the techniques of the Beast sect, but the people with masks covering their faces are silent. Xiao then decides that this fight will be a great way to test the power of the heavenly core and strikes with the shattering Jade Tiger Shanjing. This blow throws the opponent into the wall, thereby destroying it so that the criminal flies out into the street. At this moment, a second criminal attacks Xiao from behind, but Jen is calm because the Jade Tiger does all the work for him, crushing the attacker with one blow. Pleased with himself, the protagonist finally seeks to find out who is hiding behind the mask, while the criminal is absolutely motionless. However, at this moment, a third villain appears, who, judging by the attire and mask, is the main one among the gang and stronger. The criminal leaves the building by jumping on the roofs of houses, while Xiao chases after him. So they end up on the Huishu Rock. The main character loudly and angrily demands the opponent to show his face. The criminal, ignoring the statement of the main character, tells that the last time the heavenly core of the beast was created only by the founder of the sect 573 years ago. The villain notes that Xiao has a huge potential and, given his talent, the hero will be able to achieve a lot in 100 years, but the sect cannot wait so long. Xiao fearfully asks the opponent who he is, but he does not answer, but only strikes the strongest blow. However, Jen was able to withstand this blow, despite the fact that the attack was at the level of the divine world, and the disciple himself reached only gold, because he will receive the power of the heavenly core. Suddenly Xiao realizes with horror that his teacher is hiding behind the mask of the villain. At this moment, blood starts gushing from the mouth of the main character, and he becomes ill. Xiao does not understand what is happening. However, the teacher tells him that in the core that he gave him at the ceremony there was Kai Zhen energy, which turns into poison upon contact with the Kai of the snake. The master sets a condition for Xiao that if he gives the core voluntarily, he will die quickly and painlessly, to which Zhen responds with surprise mixed with anger that he will not give up the core. The master extracts the core from the young man's body, bringing him hellish pain. The teacher himself regrets it, but he has no other choice. The power that came out of the core is so strong even outside of Xiao's body that it destroys the mask and dark robe behind which the master was hiding. The defeated protagonist asks only one question: why? To which the teacher meekly replies that he does everything for the sake of the sect. At this time, other disciples of the sect come running to the rock, and the master, along with 2 young men who helped him, pretend that Xiao attacked him and stole a relic of the sect. In young men, you can recognize 2 brothers from the ceremony. They believe that there will be no forgiveness for such an act by Xiao. The master asks Xiao if he admits the mistake he made. Zhen says with grief and anger that the only mistake was that he trusted the teacher. According to the rules of the sect, the traitor must starve to death, so the master throws Xiao Zhen off the cliff into the abyss with one strong blow. Flying down like a stone, Xiao thinks only that his hatred for Yin Wanting will never disappear, and he will definitely take revenge on the master. After some time, the hero finds himself lying alone on another rock, where a poisonous snake is approaching him. She injects poison into his arm. This is noticed by a huge eagle flying by. He grabs the main character with his claws and picks up a snake with his beak. While the eagle was flying over the gorge, the snake let out a cry, to which several snakes appeared, much larger in size than the eagle. The bird dropped the young man from its claws in amazement, and Xiao fell into the abyss. Finally reaching the ground, the weak body of the protagonist landed next to a huge, amazingly beautiful dragon. The dragon is surprised that a man got into his gorge, because he has not come across people for several thousand years. The animal is very sorry that the young man suffered such a fate, because there is potential in him, despite his weak body. Having fallen into this place, the hero was supposed to rot in the dark, but the powers of the heavenly core of the beast still remained in him. Noticing this, the dragon used his powers to wake up the hero, hoping that Xiao would help the dragon get out of the gorge. At this time, Genya has a dream about how dozens of snakes surrounded him, wanting to attack him. But Xiao is not afraid, because he still has the remnants of the power of the heavenly core of the beast, and he is confident that he will be able to fight back. But suddenly a teacher appears in front of the young man, who betrayed him. In fear, Xiao begins to scream, which wakes him up. Looking at his left hand, the guy realized that he did not feel it at all, because the poison had hit the limb almost completely. However, Xiao does not despair, because at least he is alive. This thought gives him strength and even makes him laugh. Suddenly, some voice, noticing that everything is healing very quickly on the guy, interrupts Xiao's inner monologue. Frightened by the surprise, Zhen orders the speaker to show himself, to which he warns Xiao not to be afraid. Suddenly, a beautiful woman appears in front of the hero and blue horns hovering in the air. Xiao notices that she smells like a beast, to which the girl replies that Zhen probably knows who she is. The frightened Xiao thinks only about what kind of animal it is and whether she will eat it. The girl, as if reading Genya's thoughts, answers him that she does not eat such weak ones and is not going to eat him. Suddenly, the girl crawls up to the young man with questions about what kind of nightmare he had and assumes that his teacher betrayed him. The girl notices that the young man looks at her strangely, and therefore takes the form of a dragon. At this moment, the puzzle in the young man's head develops, and he realizes that the dragon to whom he fell in the gorge is this girl. The girl introduces herself by the name Ju. Despite the fact that the guy has a lot of questions, Ju is the first to ask about how Xiao got to this place, to which the young man replies that he was betrayed and defamed. Hearing this, Ju offers Xiao a contract. She will restore his cultivation and help him take revenge. Zhen agrees without hesitation, which surprises Ju, so the girl wonders if the guy is afraid that she will deceive him. To which Xiao replies that he is not even good for her to eat, so the young man sees no point in cheating. After that, Ju, noticing that she likes the way Zhen thinks, begins to draw hieroglyphs in the air to conclude a contract and asks Xiao to lend a hand. A girl and a young man conclude a blood contract, during which the spirit of the beast flows into the body of the young man. By doing this, the girl warns Xiao that she is one of the most powerful beasts, and does not thirst for blood, and her form in battle will change depending on the wishes of the guy. The girl also notices that the young man was very badly wounded, because his inner core is destroyed, and the meridians are torn, and he is alive only thanks to his willpower. Ju concludes that the person who betrayed Xiao tried very hard and recalls that she was also betrayed once. From that moment on, Xiao's body will become one, and the lives will be connected into one. Ju promises to protect the guy and hopes that he will not let her down. After the end of the ritual, the young man notices that the pain he experienced at the conclusion of the contract is not comparable to the pain of the betrayal of the sect. Xiao also discovered that he was beginning to form his own core. A month later, a guy in the lotus position is sitting on the edge of a cliff, and judging by the nests of birds on his shoulders, he has been sitting in this position all the time. Suddenly, the guy jumps up and joyfully notices that his core has finally formed, and his meridians and arm have fully recovered. Suddenly, stones from the mountain are flying at the young man from above. Xiao quickly makes the decision to descend from the cliff into the forest. The snake that bit Genya's hand is waiting for him there, but now the guy is strong enough to grab it with one blow. Suddenly, snakes come to the snake's cry, much more, but it is not difficult for Xiao to finish off these snakes with one blow. After a successful fight, Gen happily announces to Zhu that they can head to the Beast Sect. However, the girl does not agree with him and says there is no need to hurry. Suddenly, a scream comes from the depths of the forest. Xiao asks Zhu about what kind of noise it is, to which the girl replies that it is the defender of the Wanshu Valley, through whom they must pass to get to the Beast Sect. Xiao is not very eager to fight the beast and asks Zhu if there is no other way, to which the girl replies that this is the only way. On one of the rocks in the dense forest of the Wanshu Valley, Xiao Zhen was sitting in his usual lotus position. Zhu hovered in the air next to him and conjured something over the birds flying by. Judging by the rays of blue energy emanating from the main character, he was now working hard on studying energy. In just 3 months, he managed to learn how to control the power that Zhu gave him. However, if he wanted to master the true power of his core, he had to figure out how to fight better. Zhu told the young man with a grin that she was fighting well. In response to this, Xiao rose to his feet and, using the power of his core, as if plastered his arm with a very thick and durable black armor. Zhu, who saw it for the first time, was very surprised. To impress the girl even more, Zhen hit a nearby tree with all his might so that it flew out of the ground with its roots. And although Xiao was pleased with himself, the girl was not particularly impressed. She said that it was a stupid technique, and since now they share the same body, they can combine their forces and the technique will become 100 times better. The stronger the bond between Zhu and Xiao, the stronger they will be, so they need to achieve divine fusion. With such a merger, Xiao will be absolutely omnipotent, and will be able not only to move mountains, but also to extinguish the stars if he wishes. To help Xiao achieve this result, Zhu directs himself and all his strength into the guy's head. His eyes glow blue and his body is completely under the control of the girl. In this state, Zhu, having collected all the energy is put together, the deer strikes the strongest fatal blow. A whirlwind of blue energy knocks down everything in its path, and not only uproots trees, but also lifts into the air the earth that was once under them. After demonstrating his crushing blow, Zhu leaves Xiao's body and the guy regains consciousness. Shocked, Zhen asks the girl why, if she has such strength, she could not get out of the bottom of that gorge on her own and lay alone among the bones. The girl told him that the power she possesses is quite unusual, and without a guide she is not able to use it. Zhu also notes that over the past 3 months, Xiao has recovered well and now his strength has finally reached the level of the Golden World, which means that they can return to the big gorilla, the defender of Wanshu Valley. Suddenly, the heroes heard a loud roar and turned their heads towards the sound. Then they saw a huge gorilla standing on a high rock and watching the heroes. Apparently, the beast decided to come to Xiao and Zhu himself. The heroes decide to hide and attack the animal in a weak spot, since this defender of the valley is a legendary mystical beast and can defeat Genya. Xiao has no idea where it is better to attack the animal, but Zhu tells him that it is best to hit the stomach, since there is no fur, and the core of the beast is located there. At this moment, a huge gorilla Zhuyan approaches the heroes, from which a stone falls from a cliff and almost blows Xiao. Fortunately, thanks to Zhu, Xiao manages to deviate from the flying piece of rock. Finding a good place to rest, Zhu tells Xiao that if the young man defeats the beast and gets its core, then Zhen and Zhu will be able to absorb energy, which will make them stronger. There might even be new abilities that Xiao hadn't heard of before. Zhuyan, addressing Zhu, asks about where she will go when she leaves the valley and whether she will continue to search for that person. He also warns her that as long as the beast is the keeper of the valley, Zhu will not be able to leave there. Hearing this, Xiao is surprised to notice that Zhu was talking about some person that Xiao had not heard of before. The gorilla warns Genya that the affairs of the animals do not concern him and it is better for him, a mortal man, to leave and not interfere with the showdown between them. But Xiao ignores Zhu's words and calls him to battle. Using the power of the core, Zhen creates armor on both of his arms, and the same horns that Zhu has are visible on his head. With a battle cry, the young man is the first to attack Zhu, but it is not difficult for the beast to throw the guy aside, reflecting his blow. Expecting that the enemy is defeated, the beast is surprised when he sees that Xiao is safe, alive, and unharmed. With a grin, Zhu notices that he underestimated the guy, but this state of affairs further provokes the gorilla. Escaping Zhu's gaze, Xiao makes several quick jumps around him, climbing higher and higher. All this he does in order to disperse the attention of the beast and hit him in a weak spot. The beast is infuriated by such tactics and he hits the ground with all his might with a crushing roar, hoping to hit the young man. At this moment, Zhu notices that Xiao will not be able to defeat Zhu by brute force alone. The beast screams in rage that the heroes are too weak and wonders how they dare to compete with him. At this moment, Xiao realizes that now is the best time to attack the gorilla in a weak spot, and hits him in the stomach with all his might. A hard blow to the stomach caused blood to flow from Zhu Yan's mouth. Despite this, the beast was strong enough to repel Xiao's second attack, slamming him into the rock with his fist. The blow was so strong that if not for Zhenya's diligent training, which lasted for 3 months, it could have been the last for the young man. However, now the guy had enough strength to withstand this blow. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan, enraged and embittered by the fact that some insignificant mortal man was able to inflict such a strong blow on the guardian and dared to injure him, began aggressively attacking Xiao with renewed vigor. This time, the beast, like a dragon, spewed a strong stream of flame from its mouth directly at the boy. Realizing that Xiao had nowhere to dodge the fire, he decided to create a shield around himself and try to resist Zhu Yan's power. After the collision of the two forces, a strong explosion occurred, throwing Xiao several meters off the cliff towards the forest. And although the guy was injured, he managed to stay alive and he was able to notice that Zhu was able to create such powerful attacks, despite the fact that he had already been hit in a weak spot. Zhen spent all his strength on creating a shield from the flame and now he absolutely did not understand what to do. At this time, Zhu was already preparing to strike the next blow, not inferior in strength to the previous one. Suddenly, Zhu appeared next to Xiao and warned the guy that he could not cope without her strength and Zhenya should give the girl control over the body. However, Xiao refused such an offer, saying that he had a plan and the girl should trust him, because being on the verge of life and death, the guy was able to feel something. In the next second, the right arm, part of the torso and half of the young man's face darkened and became covered with the same black and blue armor. In place of protection, a blue horn of Zhu and her sharp ear appeared on the guy's face, and the eye began to glow blue. The guy realized what his fusion with Zhu was capable of, and now he realized that he could half give control of the girl's body and combine their powers. Now, having become stronger, Xiao delivered a strong blow to Zhu Yan's stomach, causing him to release his energy from his body and fall to the ground. Then Zhen struck the beast another blow in the belly, from which blood poured out of the beast's mouth again. And when the opponent weakened enough, Xiao delivered the final blow, using the very vortex that Zhu showed him, finished off the opponent. Realizing that Xiao and Zhu had coped and finally defeated the beast, he rejoiced at this out loud, to which Zhu objected, saying that Xiao had done all the work himself. After a while, Zhu was able to extract the core of the beast from Zhu Yan's lifeless body, and asked Xiao to open his mouth, because only in this way could he absorb the power of the core. After swallowing the core, the guy felt a powerful surge of energy and a bright blue-purple lightning colored the sky from his strength. She hit the young man, giving him all her strength, and now the guy was able to reach the top of the Golden World level. Thanks to this, Xiao became able to use a third of Zhu's power, although previously he could only use a small part of it. The guy noticed that the energy he owns now is completely different and significantly different from the energy of animals. Xiao also mastered the technique of merging with Zhu and became strong enough to return to the Beast Sect and take revenge on his master. After these thoughts, Zhen began to climb up the mountain to the very rock from which the teacher threw him. At this time, one of the two brothers who participated in the conspiracy against Xiao was standing on the Huishu rock. He noticed a purple lightning in the sky and was very surprised. The guy assumed that this outburst was the result of one of the beasts reaching a level above the golden core. At that moment, the guy heard a rumble coming from below the cliff. Looking in that direction, the guy couldn't believe his eyes. A strong man was climbing up to him, with courage in his eyes and clearly evil intentions. But most of all, the guy was surprised when he recognized Xiao in this man. Zhen jumped on a rock and greeted the guy joyfully, noticing that it had been a long time since their last meeting. It was obvious from the guy's face that he was glad of such a coincidence and was looking forward to the upcoming fight and the victory he would win in it. Still not believing in what is happening, the guy standing on the rock loudly asks Xiao about whether it is really him. The guy does not understand how this can happen, because Zhen should have died a long time ago. The realization of the fact that Xiao is alive scares the guy and pisses him off. In response to his opponent's shouts and perplexities, Xiao just smiles and asks the guy if he is surprised. The green-haired guy still doesn't understand how this could have happened, because Zhen's cultivation was destroyed, and he himself was thrown into the backyard of Wan Shu. But despite this, Xiao not only survived, but also became much stronger. But in response to Jenya's grin, the guy only shouts that Xiao is a traitor and does not understand how he had the audacity to return back to the sect. Such statements greatly angered Xiao, because in fact, the heavenly core of the beast was taken away from him. His cultivation was destroyed and they even wanted to kill the young man. But for some reason the traitor is called Xiao, not the master. Zhen firmly decided that today he would make the beast sect pay for all the pain caused to him. In response to Xiao's reasoning, the opponent reminds that Zhen was actually an orphan and should thank the master for picking him up, because without this the hero would not have survived. In addition, the sect accepted Xiao and taught him new techniques, and he, according to one of the brothers, stole a relic of the sect and attacked the master. As always hovering in the air next to Xiao, Zhu noticed how cleverly the opponent twisted the whole story against Zhen and that such an approach was in the style of the beast sect. However, the owner of the girl was very determined. From the words that flew out of the green-haired guy's mouth, Xiao again experienced all the pain and resentment of betrayal. The statement hurt the guy so much that he got angry at the joke and ordered Nangong Tsushui to shut up. In order for the opponent to fulfill Xiao's will, the young man decided to strike him. However, Nangong twisted in such a way that Xiao flew past him and almost fell off the cliff again. But this time Zhen did not repeat the mistakes of the past, because he was ready for such a development. The young man deftly turned around and ran towards the enemy again. Nangong, who did not expect such a maneuver from Xiao, out of fright made an attack with spiritual snakes devouring souls. A small explosion occurred from the collision of the two forces, which led to the fact that the guys were thrown in different directions from each other. At that moment, Nangong realized that he had reached the peak of the Golden Core world and was strong. The guy did not understand how it was possible to do this in just 2 months, given the state in which Xiao was. In order for Nangong to reach this level, he needed secret techniques that his master taught him, while Xiao was able to do it on his own. Despite this, the cultivation of Xiao's opponent was stronger, because Zhen had lost the heavenly core of the beast, and realizing this, Nangong concluded that he could still defeat Zhen. The guy attacked Xiao with a jerk of the spiritual snake and ordered the animal to finish Xiao off. But Zhen had no trouble wrapping his arm with armor, grabbing the snake by the throat and destroying the energy. At that moment, taking advantage of Xiao's distraction, Nangong attacked the guy from behind with 3 snakes already. Fortunately, Zhu warned the owner about the coming danger in time and Xiao was able to dodge the snakes. Nangong noted that last time, after throwing Xiao off the cliff, the master took pity on him and left him alive. But today there will be no mercy for him. Xiao replied that his opponents survived then. But today luck is definitely not on his side and Zhen will be able to defeat them. Zhu, watching everything that was happening, decided to warn her master against impulsive actions and asked him not to let rage control him. The girl reminded him that Xiao had already mastered the fusion technique and Nangong was not dangerous for him. To which Xiao replied that he was able to deal with the enemy himself without the help of Zhu. Hearing that Zhen was answering someone, Nangong was surprised, because he did not see anyone near Xiao, and did not understand who he could talk to. Finally, the opponent decided to deal a crushing blow to Zhenya and rushed towards the young man with a battle cry. But Xiao had no difficulty just grabbing the opponent by the arm, thereby stopping his attack. Squeezing his hand harder, Xiao began to inflict severe pain on his opponent, from which Nangong was unable to remain silent. At that moment, Xiao told the guy that if he helped reveal Yin Wanting's true motives, then Zhen would act mercifully. Suddenly, Nangong began to melt and spread like wax from a candle flame. The guy will turn into a liquid clot and, using the snake escape technique, freed himself from Zhenya's grip. While doing this, Nangong questioned Xiao's determination and his confidence that he was dangerous to the Beast Sect. Suddenly, Nangong appeared in front of Xiao in a new guise, and next to him was a huge dark green snake. The opponent called Zhenya incompetence and said that he could not compete with the master himself. He also said that after Xiao disappeared, a powerful predecessor of the Beast Sect came and the master was able to complete his plan, in which Zhen was just a small stone in the way of Yin Wanting. Suddenly, the strongest energy engulfed the place. Xiao immediately realized that it was the master's power and realized that Zhu Yan's energy was practically negligible compared to it. Thus, the master conveyed some kind of message to Doi and Nangong, after which the guy said that their fight, unfortunately, would have to be postponed and began to leave the rock. Xiao tried to stop the opponent, but his strength was not enough for this. Nangong disappeared, and Zhu noticed that if Zhen had used her strength, the enemy would not have been able to escape. Xiao replied that it was too early for the sect to know about the existence of Zhu and he kept her as an ace up his sleeve. Xiao went to the sect in the hope that he would meet the master and we could take revenge on him. The girl at this moment mentally noticed that the young man has not yet learned to fully control his rage and he needs practice. When Xiao came to the Beast Sect, he saw the ruins and did not meet a single living soul. The only question the main character was asking now was, what happened here? Xiao stood among the stone ruins left over from the Beast Sect. He looked around in bewilderment, not understanding what could have happened here and who arranged it. Zhu obviously noticed that the sect was defeated, to which Zhen replied that it was impossible and he did not believe his eyes. The guy kicked down the door of the house in front of him and went inside. The room was a complete mess and disorder, a huge layer of dust, broken windows and fallen ceiling beams on the floor. After examining the room, Zhu concluded that no one has lived here for a long time. Xiao picked up someone's robe from the floor, looked angrily at the thing belonging to someone from the sect of beasts, and threw it on the ground. In a rage, Xiao rushed to the exit of the house. Zhu asked the owner in surprise about where he was going, to which Zhen replied that he intended to find the sect of the beast and destroy Yin Wanting. The girl asked Xiao what he would do if his plan didn't work and he couldn't defeat his master. This question infuriated Xiao and he shouted angrily that even if he did not find Wanting, he would beat the information out of Xian Meng. But defeat would never suit him. Yin is nowhere to hide from Xiao and the guy intends to get him out of the ground if necessary. Zhu flies up to the young man and turns out to be just a couple of centimeters from his face. The girl wraps her hands around Xiao's face and he, instantly calmed down, looks at the girl in shock. The girl asks the guy to calm down and think about the words that Nangong said to him. The man told that the sect of the beast became much stronger after Xiao's departure. Zhu said she chose Xiao because he was able to create the heavenly core of the beast. Even the girl, being a powerful beast, does not know how the master was able to pull off such a thing, but it helped the teacher to go beyond the unimaginable world. Under this condition, Xiao is unlikely to be able to cope with Yin Wanting. The girl also noted that after Nangong summoned his mystical beast, he became much stronger and even if Xiao had used the fusion, he could have lost. But Zhen is determined and is not ready to give up, so he accepts help from Zhu. A little upset, Xiao and Zhu are moving in a green forest among dense trees. The girl plans to train Zhenya so that he becomes stronger and can defeat Wanton. To make the way to Wanting Valley go faster, Zhu took over Xiao's body. Thus, the girl used her strength to move very fast. The Zhu in Xiao's body moved so fast that only clouds of smoke remained behind her. Zhenya was not satisfied with this state of affairs and he asked Zhu to return control of his body to him. But the girl did not listen to him. In addition, while in Xiao's body, Zhu put on the same Beast Sect robe found in the destroyed house, as she was too shy to move around with her bare torso. After reaching the right place, Zhu left Xiao's body and handed over control to him again. Zhen was a little offended and angry at Zhu for the fact that she unceremoniously seized control of the young man's body. But the girl was in no hurry to apologize to Xiao, because she knew that he was not really angry. To get Zhenya to talk, the girl dropped that she noticed a problem in the strength of the young man. Xiao immediately became interested in what kind of problem she was talking about and the guy, unable to stand it, asked Zhu to tell in more detail. This time the girl pretended to be offended by the guy. Xiao rolled his eyes wearily, but a second later he was happy again after Zhu started talking. The girl said that she feels like his soul is connected to another beast besides her, and she suspects that this smell comes from a heavenly beast. And although the smell is not very pronounced, Zhu still feels it and assumes that this beast has not yet merged with the core. This gives Xiao and Ru an opportunity to buy time for training so that the young man can become stronger. There are many demonic beasts to fight in Wanshu Valley, so this is a great place to strengthen cultivation. According to Zhu's plan, after Xiao becomes stronger, he will be able to take revenge on Yin Wanting and defeat him. Suddenly, the girl interrupts her reasoning, because she hears some extraneous sound coming from the forest. She concludes that someone is hiding there and suggests that it could be someone from the Beast Sect. Zhu and Zhen are heading towards the sound. Xiao runs with all his might, but is wary, because there may be an enemy there. Suddenly, a beautiful young girl runs out of the forest, with pink hair, dressed in a white kimono with a black cape. The girl is crying out that she has had enough and she can't take it anymore, while a big black leopard with red ears pointed at the end, red eyes and a white glowing crescent moon in her forehead is chasing her. The animal prepares to strike the girl and opens its mouth with sharp snow-white fangs. The girl screams that she doesn't want to die, but it seems the beast is already close. Suddenly the girl stumbles and falls to the ground, and the leopard is ready to jump on her and bite. But fortunately at this moment Xiao appears, who with one blow of his fist demolishes the beast and prevents trouble. The girl, stunned by what is happening, compares what happened to a fairy tale in which the prince saves the beauty from an evil monster. Besotted with feelings for the young man, she loses the creature and falls to the ground. Xiao